Our client was falsely accused by Apple of being a thief on 17 different occasions, and it was not him on any of those occasions.
So you mentioned here about the banking problems with Muslims, especially activists. So you are Muslim, you are working in US as a litigation attorney. So did you ever face any kind of problem? How do you get clients in US?
Okay, so there's two parallel court systems in America. There's a federal court system that has a hierarchy, and then there's a whole parallel court system, which is the state court system. So each state, all 50 states, have their own state court system.
So what's the difference? Why two separate parallel legal courts? What an average attorney can earn through his practice, specifically litigation in US?
People who are your peers from your area, or sometimes 6, but mostly 12, get together and listen to your case. And the judge is there to guide them, but the jury is the fact finder.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Legal Forum YouTube channel. Welcome back to another podcast. And today we have Mr. Subhan Tariq Saab with us as guest. And we are going to talk about US legal system. Sir, thank you so much for coming.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you for having me.
Sir, मैं सबसे पहले आपसे जानना चाहूँगा कि you are Pakistani and I don't know whether you are national or US national or not, but you are from Pakistan and you are practicing litigation in the US. How is experience?
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the invitation to be on the show. मैं पाकिस्तान में पैदा हुआ था 1988 में. मैं 2 साल का था जब मेरी फैमिली यूएस शिफ्ट हो गई और मैं वहाँ पे बड़ा हुआ हूँ for the last 35 years. Alhamdulillah, I started coming to Pakistan more after college. मैं जब यूनिवर्सिटी में था तो मेरे दोस्त बने जो यहाँ के थे, जो वहाँ पे इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स थे, तो वो मुझे बोले कि तुम तो बेवकूफ़ हो, तुमको तो पाकिस्तान के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता है, तुम हमारे साथ पाकिस्तान चलो, हम तुमको दिखाएंगे, तुमको बहुत मज़ा आएगा. तो मैं पाकिस्तान आया था, 2010 की बात है, और बहुत अच्छा था. कराची ऑफ कोर्स बहुत मसले हैं कराची के, लेकिन पाकिस्तान वाज ग्रेट. And then in 2016 I came again. By then मैं वकील था, मेरा खुद का practice था, and Kareem Uber was here, so मैं call a car and just go anywhere, so it was great. And then in 2017 I went to SWAT in Malam Jabba for the first time, and I saw Pakistan outside of Karachi, and फिर मैं बोला यार पाकिस्तान तो बहुत अच्छी जगह है. And then in 2018 जब खान साहब आ रहे थे, then my parents बोल रहे थे कि तुम सुधर के शादी कर लो, तो मैं पाकिस्तान में शादी करा. And during the 3.5 year timeline of Khan Sahab, I came to Pakistan 10 times and spent close to 8 months here. And even afterwards, alhamdulillah, I come to Pakistan quite a bit. Yes, I do litigation in the States. My firm, Tariq Law, is based in New York City. We primarily do federal consumer protection, consumer rights litigation. We sue banks and the credit reporting agencies on behalf of consumers. And we also help people recover stolen funds from their bank accounts.
So I was looking into your LinkedIn. You have mentioned some of your notable cases. Before going to US legal system, I would like to know about those cases. The first case, BAH versus Apple Inc. What was that?
This is our client was falsely accused by Apple of being a thief on 17 different occasions, and it was not him on any of those occasions. And we believed at that time that they were using facial recognition technology to identify who the consumer was, who the person was, and that's what led to their misidentification. However, the case, it turns out that the NYPD, the New York City Police Department, was using facial recognition and not Apple. But Apple did misidentify our client as being a thief on many occasions. They apologized. And we did settle that case.
So it was out of the court settlement.
Out of the court settlement,
at the end.
Yeah.
So there was no verdict as such.
There was no verdict.
And the next case is, I don't know, Carco versus Bank of America, whether I'm pronouncing...
Carrasco.
Sorry.
That was a post-bankruptcy credit reporting case where a Bank of America reported that the consumer owed a balance post bankruptcy discharge, and there was no balance owed. And they continued to misreport a balance on her credit report, even though there was no balance, and that caused her significant financial harm.
And another one is Rangoonwala versus Citibank.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting case. This is a Muslim American who had his Citibank accounts closed for we believe to be discriminatory purpose. That he was Muslim and he was an activist, and Citibank closed his account. There's a trend in America called banking while Muslim. So Muslims have been facing banking issues. People who are active in the community, who are activists, they're facing banking issues. And so this is a situation where a consumer had his credit card accounts closed, we believed for discriminatory purpose or discriminatory reason. And we pursued this case. And ultimately, in arbitration, we pursued this case and we settled with Citibank for a very good number.
That's good. What I can see from this pattern is a lot of cases are going out of the court, going toward out of the court settlement.
Yeah.
So is it a legal requirement to settle things outside court or arbitration?
No, I think that's the natural progression of a case. So you either are going to take a case towards a decision by a judge, or you're going to find a settlement path and you're going to try to settle your case. I always try to work on what's in the best interest of my client, and most of the time what's in the best interest of my client is to settle a case and move it along and move on with your case and move on to the next case, and so clients don't want to be sitting there for years waiting for a simple matter that should be resolved in an expeditious manner. And so the court system works. And I think we were talking about this before. It's really on the judges to move your case along. You have to set out a schedule and you have to make sure that the parties live to the schedule.
We were trying to fit in this system in the Pakistan as well before this podcast.
Yeah, शायद लोग यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा समझ जाएं कि there's 4 million active cases here. Some that we were talking about on the way here as we were coming here that have been ongoing for 30 years. 70% of this country is under the age of 30 years old. That means that the legal disputes are longer than 70% of your population's entire life. How is that even acceptable? We were talking about this earlier, about what society tolerates. That is what happens. When the people, the collective, as a community come together and say, no, this is not tolerable, then things change. Until then, people just tolerate mediocrity and they just don't see it as a problem. Oh, किसी और का मसला है, The trash on the street, किसी और का मसला है. पानी नहीं है, किसी और का मसला है. Internet नहीं है, किसी और का मसला है. बिजली नहीं है, किसी और का मसला है. हम सिर्फ ये सोचते रह रहे हैं कि किसी और का मसला है. जब तक हम ये नहीं सोचेंगे कि मेरा मसला है, तब तक मसला मैं हल ही नहीं करूँगा.
So you mentioned here about the banking problems with Muslims, especially activists. So you are Muslim, you are working in US as a litigation attorney. So did you ever face any kind of problem, any challenges in this respect or in any other?
With respect to banking, no.
No, in practice.
Discrimination? Yeah. I mean, people make comments, sometimes it's not about what people say, it's about the way people say them, or the body language of people, or just the demeanor in which you are addressed, or how what is tolerable to be said to you versus what is tolerable to be said to other people. Yes, there is discrimination in the system there. I don't necessarily see it as a overt on
It may
your
not be
face type
expressed,
thing,
but it is there.
I think there are at times things. I also don't want to necessarily come across as negative or that. I think the system itself is a good system, and yes, there are problems in the system for sure, but I'll tell you it's much better than the Pakistani system because you guys have 4 million active cases, and our system, at least the decisions, I may not always agree with the decisions, but at least we reach decisions. You guys just.
So what is on an average like for a case to conclude? कितने अरसे में एक case conclude हो जाता है?
That's a good question, but on a normal basis, if I don't settle a case, if I just go based on the scheduling order, what the court determines to be how long this case should be, it could be as little as 6 months. And max 10 months. Some judges they'll give you 4 months for discovery, 1 month for motion for summary judgment, and 1 month opposition, and he'll make a decision pretty fast, and you'll be on the trial docket by early next year. Like crazy, super fast. And then there's some judges the case will take a total of a year and a half, 2 years.
In trial court.
In federal court and to get to a trial, because sometimes discovery gets dragged out for a little bit of time. Oh, parties are gone, or there's discovery disputes. Oh, there's depositions that need to take place. Everything is out of the court. The court is only the determiner of fact. That's it. And you have to come with your facts, and the court determines whose facts they believe. Everyone's obviously going to disagree on the facts, right? But you have to go do that outside of court. You have to go do your own discovery. You have to go hire your own court reporters. You have to do all of this process. And you come to court and you say, Your Honor, you present your case at trial or prior in the scheduling order, in the order that it's supposed to be presented. And that's how you get heard. And the system's working. We do get cases to decision. Like we have cases that I wish I could slow them down, but they're not. They're going to be over probably a lot sooner than I hope, because some cases you need some more time to flush out the facts, and other cases you don't, and you already have all the facts and you're trying to present them as quickly as possible to a judge and say, hey, look, I can show that these people screwed up and I need my money.
Here comes the question that sometimes attorneys, they try to drag the matters
and
prolong the matter.
Do
we have something like that in US, and what could be the consequences for this?
So of course people are going to try to drag a case along. Attorneys in America are mostly getting paid on an hourly basis. So they try to drag it along.
It is in their best interest to prolong the matter.
Sometimes, for the people who are getting paid hourly, sure. On my side, I'm a plaintiff's attorney. I'm not getting paid hourly. I'm getting paid on a contingency basis for the most part, that we get paid if we win and when we win. So if I don't win, I don't get paid.
Is contingency legal in US?
Yeah, it's totally legal. It's totally good. Because if I don't win, I don't get paid. So
in our legal system, it is not encouraged, and it is not, I think, legal as well. You have to charge some kind of fee. Either it is pro bono, or you have to charge something.
Yeah, I'm charging something. I'm charging if I'm winning. If I don't win, then I shouldn't charge anything.
Here you cannot do this.
Yeah, I think यहाँ पे भी होता है. यहाँ पे भी होता है ना. यहाँ पे लोग बोलते हैं done basis पे.
Yes, they
done
do.
basis पे करो. Done काम होगा done. मैं आपको पैसे दे दूँगा.
नहीं, done basis is something else.
क्यों फिर?
Done basis is the judicial officer is involved as well. कि that is done. कि भाई yes, I will. I think you are understanding what I am trying to say. But the contingent is कि भाई if I win, then I'll charge XYZ amount. But it is not encouraged here. You have to have.
Yeah, I think
in our legal practice rules, you have to charge something.
I'll say this, that incentivizes attorneys to just drag cases along. The system here needs a radical reformation. A radical reformation. You have 4 million cases pending. People just hear it and they say, oh, that's not my problem, right? Oh, my case, that's not my problem. No, it's all of our problem. All of the lawyers need to see this as a holy shit. This is my problem. My problem is that my cases aren't resolving. Why aren't my cases resolving? Because the judges have too many cases and the judges are not moving the cases along. They need to have a judicial conference and they need to fix the rules. Yeah, I know the rules are already, they have all kinds of problems with the judicial system right now because I don't know if there is really a judicial system in Pakistan anymore. There's really a kaam karwana hai, kaam ho jayega type system in Pakistan. And everything else is just like a circus. Everyone's just trying to pretend like there's nothing wrong. I actually asked some attorneys earlier, a few days ago, like, I'm surprised no one's talking about that you guys don't really have a judicial system anymore.
No, I'll invite you to the courts as well if you.
It's like a circus. It's like
You'll
a circus.
enjoy it.
It's like a circus. When there's no rule of law, when there's just like the rule of the circus. Everyone's performing a little.
I'll invite you to the city court.
It's gonna be that's how the kangaroo courts work.
So next thing is about US legal system.
Sure.
That how many courts or what is the hierarchy of courts in the US?
Okay, good question.
From the trial court or a very small claim court to the federal courts to Supreme Court.
Okay, so there's 2 parallel court systems in America. There's a federal court system that has a hierarchy, which is the Supreme Court first, the courts of appeals, and there's different courts of appeals. There's lots of different ones. And then there's district courts, which fall under the courts of appeals, which is like the Second Circuit has New York, Connecticut, and under them, and the Third Circuit has New Jersey, and they have a few different states under their circuit, and that's how the federal court system works. And then there's a whole parallel court system, which is the state court system. So each state, all 50 states, have their own state court system. And in the state court system, it also works on a hierarchy basis. The Court of Appeals in New York is actually the highest court. It's the highest court in the state is called the Court of Appeals. And then there's a intermediary court, and then there's a district court, which is actually called Supreme Court. But that's actually the district court level, which is actually called Supreme Court. And
the district.
Of the district. Of the county.
Of the county.
It's the Supreme Court of the county, but it's actually the district court in the system.
Okay.
In the court system, it's the district court, but it's called the Supreme Court, which is the Supreme Court of the county. But it's not actually the Supreme Court of the county because there's, districts.
We have
and then
some or other superior courts as well.
And then even below the Supreme Court, there's within New York City, there's a city civil court system that also has hierarchies. That also includes the normal civil court, which is under $50,000 of disputes, amounts of controversy under $50,000, and then small claims court, which is under $10,000 in amount of controversy. So there's that system. So there's
what about criminal side?
On the criminal side, again, there's federal criminal court, and then there's state criminal courts. State criminal courts, you are, in a state penitentiary, state jail, and then in a federal court system, you're in a federal jail, and all kinds of other rules apply in terms of parole and time served and all of these things different within the state and the federal systems.
So broadly speaking, what I can get is there is 2 types of court, broadly speaking. One is the federal courts and other is state courts. So what's the difference? Why 2 separate parallel legal courts and a hierarchy of the courts. Which court are dealt by the federal courts, and which cases are dealt by federal court, and which cases are dealt by the
So
state courts?
federal courts, think federal constitution, think federal statutes, federal laws. And what are federal laws? Stuff that governs interstate commerce, stuff that that's how that consumer protection works, stuff that is like labor laws, stuff that is I would say mostly interstate commerce related. That's what the most of the federal statutes are about, stuff that is in between the states. And then on the state court side, the state system side, it's mostly about business transactions within the state's rules. So each state has their own business rules, which create a whole host of problems, right? And then some criminal statutes, like, for instance, murder and I guess murder can also take place on a federal. There's also federal murder statutes, but most murder cases or most criminal cases are handled by state courts. There are some federal statutes related to criminal matters, but for the most part, most of that is handled by the state court system.
So do we have, like in Pakistan, we have high courts, one for province and Supreme Court for all the Pakistan. Now we have Federal Constitutional Court, another one. Do we have a kind of Supreme Court or a Court of Appeals or a High Court which is over the entire US?
Yeah, the Supreme Court of the United States.
So
their rules, their rulings apply to everyone.
And Court of Appeal?
They only apply. They're persuasive on the other courts of appeals, but it's binding on all of the courts within the Court of Appeals. So all of the district courts within that Court of Appeals are bound to that circuit court's rulings, but it's only persuasive on another circuit, and it's not binding on that circuit. But the Supreme Court rulings are binding on all the circuits and all the district courts and all the state courts.
There is only one Supreme Court of US.
Only one Supreme Court of the United States, and there's 9 members.
And they sit in?
They sit in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. near the university as well.
Near the capital, yeah.
Yeah. So, like in Pakistan, we have different classifications of advocates. Like, first, initially you are an advocate. Advocate means that you can only practice in subordinate courts of a particular province where you are registered. Then you become advocate high court. You can practice to the level of high courts all over Pakistan, and then advocate Supreme Court and senior advocate. Is there any such hierarchy in the US as well, that you can practice only to this extent or to the Supreme Court, to the Court of Appeals?
Yes. But so when I get admitted to the bar, I am admitted to the State Bar of New York. Okay, so that gives me the ability to practice in all state courts, only state courts, criminal and civil state courts. If I want to argue a case in the New York, in the district court within New York, I need to get admitted into that district court, and I get a new piece of paper to hang on the wall, so it looks like a beautiful achievement.
You mean certificate?
Yeah, piece of paper to hang on the wall, and it looks like I have a great achievement. However, I'm just filling in the piece of paper itself to say, hey, I'm admitted in the state of New York. Now, please allow me to be admitted into the federal district court here. And I have to read the rules and all this stuff. And yeah, sure. But I just am filling out a piece of paper. Okay. And they give me a nice piece of paper to frame and put on my wall. And if you ever see my wall at home, it's filled with frames because they gave me nice pieces of paper to hang on the wall. And then the same thing is true with the circuit courts. I can apply just with another piece of paper to argue a case in the circuit courts if I have an appeal of a case.
You have to apply for every time. Every time you have to apply, or you
just in
go
each
for
court.
once.
In each court, though.
You have once, and then you'll get the certificate that you can practice.
Then I can practice here. And the same is true with the Supreme Court. I can just apply for membership to the Supreme Court bar and pay the fee and submit that I'm in good standing. And they will give me another nice piece of paper to hang on the wall. And I'll also get to meet a Supreme Court justice who will tell me that I need to be a good person and, do good for my profession and not be a evil person.
So is there any requirement for each enrollment? Like,
there's different rules of the
timeline. I'll give example. Like for 2 years initially, I cannot be admitted to the High Court.
Yeah, the Supreme Court is like that.
After 2 years, I have to be advocate High Court for 7 years, and I have to have 10 reported cases in law journals, and then I can be admitted to the Supreme Court. Do you have any such kind of requirements?
No, I think the Supreme Court of the United States requires you to be an attorney for 5 years prior to getting admitted into the Supreme Court bar. But other than that, no, nothing special.
So any advocate having 5 years of standing can practice in the Supreme Court of
US. He has to apply and get admitted, but yeah.
Is there any interview or?
No.
It's just formality.
It's just a formality.
So another thing from the UK legal system that we see, there are some barristers and others are solicitors. Do we have something in US like that you can someone can practice as attorney, or someone can just have paperwork?
If you're maybe like a paralegal?
No, in UK we have a different.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know.
So now coming to the minimum requirements to practice as an attorney in the US, what are those requirements?
Oh man, it's been so many years for me. I graduated in 2013 from law school. You have to, I think you have to complete at least 1 year of legal education. And so some people do that through an LLM.
Or JD.
So the JD program is 3 years full time. That's what I would recommend for everyone who comes to. If everyone is interested in American legal education, I would tell you go to America and enroll in a JD program. Do a full time 3 year program. Yes, it's expensive, but that's really the full experience as an attorney, and to go to law school in America and to see, part of the problem is that the system here enables cheating. There is no proof of work, and I'm a Bitcoin person. So Bitcoin people, we believe in proof of work. Here, everyone's trying to take a shortcut. Everyone sees it. It's not my problem. I'm going to try to cut out
here in Pakistan.
In Pakistan, everyone wants a shortcut. No one wants to put in the work. In the States, the whole experience is to go to the school. Everyone here wants to skip out on the school and get the certificate of the school here. In America, the whole experience is to go to the school. You see your classmates. You go, so people who go to party schools, they go to party schools. They go dorm, or they go, hostel or whatever. The whole experience is education is not only what you learn in a classroom. It is the vibes of the people who you're meeting and the networking that's taking place. People who I went to law school with, some of them are judges. Some of them are running for state representatives. One person, I'm very, very good friends with Zoran Mamdani's attorney, who's going to be the mayor-elect of New York City. His attorney is my good friend. He
has been appointed as mayor.
He won the election.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but his attorney is my good friend. And we talk regularly.
No, I'll disagree here that people just have certificates in Pakistan, because I don't know whether you have been to the courts or not, because their people are very much qualified. They are overqualified, I would say. and they all have degrees from the different jurisdictions, from UK, from US. We have so many people.
Yeah, I know lots of people
So
that have
it's
great
a
pieces
kind of,
of paper.
I'll say, generalizing that
Sure.
people are
I'll
just
tell you this. Look,
getting
I know
certificates.
I went to good schools. Okay, I know that I'm kind of being a little flippant here, and maybe people who will watch this later are gonna say, "Oh man, this guy has an attitude." But I went to good schools. I know that there are smart people everywhere, of course. The reason I have a staff in Pakistan is because they're hardworking and they're super smart. Okay, and but at the same time, the your hardworking and intelligence is not necessarily what the piece of paper tells you. Some people are just there. What I mean by they're just looking for the piece of paper is like, मैं बस attendance करने आया हूँ, मुझे बस paper दे दे, मैं खुश हूँ. You know what I mean? Like they're not in it दिल लगा के. इसलिए कि दिल लगा के होगा ना तो उनको पैसों की भी परवाह नहीं होगी, मुझे करना है बस. ठीक है, वो बस पेपर के लिए आए हैं. That's what I meant by that. Some people they're just that way, but other people, yeah, of course, in Pakistan, the reason I come to Pakistan is because Pakistan's filled with raw talent, incredible, hardworking, loyal, dedicated people who need a shot, who need an opportunity, who need to be able to produce in an environment where their work is
and those are
appreciated
all are mostly most of them are created by the local universities and universities in Pakistan, and people around the world, they are working for US, for other countries. Canada is working on immigrants,
and
so it is saying this that people are not they're just concerned about the certificate. Is kind of I'd say
I don't mean that in the sense that I mean that in the sense that, you see, you're talking about the local hardworking people that the universities make. Okay, what we didn't mention is the name on the university. You understand what I'm saying? I have found harder working, more qualified people who don't have the piece of paper in Pakistan than I have found who do have the piece of paper in Pakistan. That is what I mean. That when I go out and hire, the people just care about the piece of paper. But no, that's not what I care about. I care about the work ethic and the qualification. Do they actually have the ability to perform? And I would say the people in Pakistan have the ability to perform without the piece of paper, but they're so concerned about the piece of paper. When I go out to try to hire, everyone's like, oh, look at my school. Oh, look at my piece of paper. And I don't care about the paper. I care about
because if you are hiring remotely, so most probably you are just looking a paralegal, because that person is not going to appear in courts in the US.
Yeah, they're not going to appear in court.
It is not requirement for degree is not requirement for that job as such. What if there is a doctor having no degree but good skills of operating doing a surgery? Would you allow that person to do a surgery?
If that person had gotten to a level that they had the experience, you would not even ask them if they had the degree or not.
But minimum is having degree to go to that extent.
I understand. But you told me by the time the guy got to the surgery, that means the guy got to a point where he was performing the surgeries.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in Pakistan, they are doing it.
But if he does such a good job and he's actually getting the work done, you may not even ask for the degree, right? If you ask if kaam hota hai, kaam karwa de. I would say, if I'm just being a little facetious here, a judge was just removed from the High Court.
From the
Islamabad High Court, right?
Yes.
For having a fake degree. I know that there is
all controversy. We can have a different kind of podcast. And he has been advocate general of a province government. He has represented a government. So if his degree was fake, so it's a big question mark on the entire system. Yes.
How did he even get there?
Because his degree was
real.
genuine,
Yeah,
and
it
multiple
was,
time verified. Even
of course, of course.
when I was
no,
enrolled,
I'm not saying that his degree was fake. I actually agree that his degree was probably real, and the pressure was exerted upon the people to say that his degree was fake. I understand, but the question then is asked: if you are saying that the degree was fake, how did he get all the way up here in the
exactly,
first
this
place?
is a big question mark. This
You
is a
know?
big question mark. So coming to now
yeah.
again to the US.
Yeah, US
So
legal system.
how do you get clients in US? Although
Great question.
it is,
Actually, I had this debate with.
do you need some connections or you advertise or how?
Amazing question. I had this debate with some attorneys at a wedding that I was at a few days ago. In America, attorneys are allowed to advertise. And actually, that clears up the field from the fakes. Because when you can advertise, then you have a reputation to maintain. And you are going to perform for your clients. And if they don't perform, then I'm going to get negative reviews on my Google listing. And most of my clients are coming to me from Google, right? So if you are doing a poor job, your Google review will go down. But I can only do that if I can advertise. In Pakistan, there is no legal advertising allowed.
It is illegal.
Yeah, it is illegal, right? So because it is illegal, the fraudsters actually can enter the market because no one is allowed to participate in the market. So fraud can easily enter the market. And that causes a huge problem because now there's a distrust of the attorneys because you don't really know if someone is legit or not. If they wear a black coat and they wear a black tie, you just assume that they're an attorney too. In America, everything can be verified.
So you can hold, you can place the big holdings on the roads that
like
if you
put
have
a
a legal
billboard.
problem, come to us.
Yeah, and we own a website, dialforlaw.com, 833 dial for law, and we have a phone jingle for law, dial for law. For law, dial for law. Injured, dial for law. Hurt at work, dial for law.
So I'd like to ask a very dumb question. Do you have a certain dress code for attorneys in the US? I can see a t-shirt you are wearing, and you have a logo of your law firm as well.
Yeah.
So is it the dress
code?
Is there
a dress code? Is there a dress code in court? Sure, there's a dress code in court with a suit and tie, right? In
any
court.
color?
Any color. I don't wear black. I wear the black suit, but I won't wear a black tie. I don't think I even own a black tie, actually. Maybe I should buy a black tie from here. But I don't even own a black tie. And I always wear a colored tie. I mostly wear a colored suit, usually blue or a navy blue or a charcoal. I don't think I remember even wearing my black suit in court ever. But yeah, but outside of court, there's no. Do
you have a recommended dress code, or just it should be formal attire, and you just have to
at my firm, I don't have a dress code. I'm
talking about the courts when you appear before the court.
The court's formal all the time, suit tie.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
You cannot wear a t-shirt.
You cannot wear a t-shirt. You have to wear a coat. You cannot wear anything else. I have had court appearances online where I will not wear a tie. I will wear a full button-down shirt and a coat, but I won't wear the tie, and the judges sometimes are okay with it. Sometimes they... Actually, I've never had a judge say anything to me, but they see that I'm in a suit. I'm just not wearing a tie. Most of the time, they understand you're at the office or you're at home to take a court appearance.
So, next question is that everyone is obviously working for money. I would not ask that how much do you earn, and it's a very unethical question as well. But I would ask that what an average attorney can earn through his practice, specifically litigation in US.
I'll say alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala ने जो कुछ हम सोच भी नहीं सके, Allah Ta'ala ने सब कुछ दिया है. What does an average attorney make? I guess it depends on experience, and depends on your level, and depends on your department, and it depends on lots of other things. I think on average, the average attorney is probably making about $100,000 US a year, maybe a little more. As a firm owner, I'll say that my job is to get paid last. I have 12 attorneys, 12 employees that work at my firm. 6 of us are attorneys. I get paid last, and whatever's left. And I was explaining to them yesterday that our overhead is a significant amount of money every month between employees and office and technology and all of these things. And so it is very stressful, very, very stressful. But alhamdulillah, I survive, and I live, and I have a family, so we get by.
So you are talking about technology, and I would question on that, like what kind of technologies are used in the US legal system, and the research, which is a very significant.
So we use Lexis. So we use LexisNexis for search. That is a significant expense every month. We also use ChatGPT, which is an expense, not a major expense. We have several CRMs, like client relationship managers, which are tech platforms that are helping with automations and workflows and pipelines and all this stuff, and like distributing the work amongst the team members. I would probably say that we are a very tech savvy law firm. If I compare myself to many of my colleagues, we are implementing AI with our workflows. We use all of the latest tech that we can. We have AI answering services. We have AI chatbots. We try to utilize AI as much as we can to go faster.
So we have in Pakistan law journals like Pakistan PLDs and SCMRs and different kind of law journals, a bunch of books every year or every month. If you subscribe, they send you a particular publisher. So do you have such kind of books, law journals there, and you subscribe them and you have in your office?
So I don't have the books in my office anymore, alhamdulillah. Technology has advanced so much that everything is online. I do have books that we have for our consumer protection series about fair debt collection and fair credit reporting. And actually, I brought all the books to Pakistan to give to my staff members here so they can get the books. And we're going to work on, inshallah, getting additional copies of the books here as we can. So, we get books, but most of our stuff is still on.
So, what other platforms do you have for research, like LexisNexis you have mentioned? Are there any other law websites?
So we use the National Consumer Law Center. So I'm part of the National Association of Consumer Advocates and the National Consumer Law Center. They have their own research treatise set books. Those are the books that we bring, but we also have the digital online sets of the books that we can do research through and search for case law.
Before coming to the consumer thing, I have that segment as well, consumer laws. I have last question here before that segment. In Pakistan and in all over the world, we are witnessing that court proceedings are being broadcasted live. Is there anything in US, and is there an option of virtual hearings, like online hearing? The entire court is online and paperless proceedings.
I don't go to court.
You don't go to the court
in person regularly. I went to court. Last week, my court appearance that we had this motion on. It was in person, but it was also online. So I could attend online and I could argue my case online.
You have the options.
I have the option.
So what about broadcasting?
I mean, it's already being broadcast.
In, like, as Supreme Court of Pakistan, they have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So
the Supreme Court of the United States does not have a YouTube channel. They don't allow video. They do have audio recordings now. Federal courts do not allow recording at all. All federal courts, if you walked into a federal court, they would take your phone. You would not have an access to any sort of recording device. State court, it is. But even though in federal court there's no recording, I can still attend a hearing remotely.
So the proceedings are recorded, like if you
The proceedings are just remote. They're on Zoom.
So are these proceedings recorded or scripted anywhere?
They're not recorded in like audio or video. There's a court reporter who's sitting there typing it all out.
Okay. So coming to the consumer protection laws, which is your field.
Sure.
So how the laws or legal system of US protects its consumers or consumers in the US?
It allows consumers to sue bad actors for if they've been harmed. So if a consumer feels like they've been harmed, they can sue to try to recover damages.
So what are the major cause of actions? Which things mostly they end up in litigation or consumer law suits?
There's all kinds of different
What kind
things.
of disputes, in short, I want to ask?
We handle mostly credit reporting issues. So something where a consumer, the bank or creditor is reporting something about a consumer and the consumer believes it's wrong. So it's not enough to be inaccurate. It has to be like actually wrong. And so it has to, and then it also has, you have to be able to explain what's wrong and why does it matter. And we help consumers dispute inaccurate information on their credit reports. And if it's not being corrected, then we help sue for that situation.
So like there are some kind of claims on deceptive marketing, or someone has purchased something and it caused any damage, any loss to a person, or even a mental harm. Is that covered? Mental harm and
emotional distress. So these are things that are hotly contested in American legal courtrooms, but emotional distress can be included as actual damages in particular, in cases. So when we have cases where an individual has been harmed, their emotional distress can be one of the damages that we seek to recover. So like, for instance, we've had situations where just yesterday we were discussing with a consumer who was overseas at the time when money was being stolen from his bank account, and he contacted the bank and he told the bank that, stop these transactions. I did not authorize them. Money has been being stolen, like live watching the money being stolen from his account.
Transactions are going there, taxes coming.
He's seeing the text messages come that the fraudulent transactions are taking place, and he's contacting the bank and telling them in real time that these are fraudulent transactions. Do not, don't process them, and also freeze my account. And they still process those transactions, and he was out most of his life savings. And so we are going to try to pursue emotional distress for that case. Why? Because he's stuck overseas as a result of negligence by the bank that failed to remedy his situation in a timely manner.
Do we get any good amount of damages for emotional distress, and how do you prove the emotional distress in the court?
So, do you get a big verdict for emotional distress? There are times, yes. One of my colleagues got a $20 million verdict.
$20 million?
$20 million, which is, what is that, like 5 Arab rupee?
I don't know. I have to calculate it.
Yeah,
It's a huge amount.
Yeah. It's like some crazy number, right? It's like 500 crore
It's
rupees.
loan which Pakistan seeks from the other countries.
It is the type of loan that Pakistan seeks from
So
the country.
are those defendants, are they able to even
Pay?
pay?
Yeah, these are companies are worth billions of dollars. Equifax makes $10 billion a year. So for them, $20 million is like a chew. $20 million gone. Like for them, nothing. This money is nothing. And this is why the juries, consume people, average people in America, when they hear that like this big company had all of these resources and they were reporting something negatively about you, and you told them and you gave them an opportunity to correct it and they still didn't correct it,
so
then they get punished.
We were talking about the jury system, and you mentioned here as well. We were talking before the podcast. I would like to know about the jury system, how jury system works in US legal system.
12 people who are your peers from your area, or sometimes 6, but mostly 12, get together and listen to your case. And the judge is there to guide them, but the jury is the fact finder. The jury determines who is right and who is wrong, and if they are wrong, how much they are wrong, like how much money they have to pay. That is up to a jury, and because they are the fact finder, how much have you been injured? That is on a jury to determine. And so, when you can tell as a lawyer, when you can tell a compelling story, there's only, Pakistanis love dramas. Okay? In any sort of story, in any sort of drama, there's only 3 characters. Okay? The victim, the villain,
the hero,
and the hero. Okay? To the court, right, into a jury, you want to show that your client is the victim, the company is the villain,
and
the jury is the hero. The jury is the hero of the victim and meant to punish the villain. And is in the American legal court system, if you can tell a very compelling story of how your client is a victim and the defendant is a villain, and the people who are watching this story, right, of the villain beating the victim are the heroes who have the ability to do something. You don't have the ability to stop the villain from beating the victim. All you can do is punish the villain. So be the hero and punish the villain.
Every court has jury, or is it in only criminal cases?
Not all courts, not all cases. It has to reach a certain threshold. It has to not be agreed. Like it has to. There's times where you can waive a jury trial in a court. In a case, if your case goes to arbitration, you don't get a jury trial. So there's lots of different variations, but there's the trial lawyer. In America, the trial lawyer is like the Harvey Specter, right? Like if you're watching Suits, ones. Right? Their job is primarily storytelling. It's to stay out of the way. The legal paperwork is just paperwork.
It's not their business.
It's not. For the 12 people who get to decide the ending of the story, the paperwork doesn't matter.
How good you have drafted.
Doesn't matter. None of it matters. The name. You see, you see how when we talk about law, you didn't ask me where did I go to law school. You didn't care. I know, but you didn't really care about the name of the piece of paper.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's the name. People get so caught up in and that's why I describe it as a piece of paper, because the piece of paper doesn't matter. It's who you are. Who am I that matters? And who I am is not confined to the piece of paper. Who I am is much more than just a piece of paper. Yeah, it's a nice piece of paper. I get it. It'll even say nice things about you on the piece of paper. It'll say he has successfully completed the rigorous achievements of this course of study. Right? They'll say nice things about you. Some will say, oh, he graduated summa cum laude, right? Or that he's super smart or top 5% of his class. They'll say nice things about you, but ultimately, it's just a piece of paper. Who cares? This is also the charm of the Western system, is that these things are not the actual essence of the thing. The essence of the thing is who you are as a person. The essence is who I am as a person. My whole life in the West, I went to Quranic school, I went to Sunday school. Many of my friends are Hafiz and they're very religious people. But I learned about justice in Islam through a Western academic institution when I was in college at UMass, the University of Massachusetts Amherst. And it was taught to me by a Muslim professor. She, I don't even recall her name right now, but it'll come to me. And on the first day of class, the professor came on the board and wrote the word haq, H-A-Q-Q in English. And she told us to go home and come back with the definition of the word haq the next time when we came to class. And so when we came back to class the next day, or the next time, she wrote the word haq on the board again. And she told us that each of us had to go up to the board and write the meaning of the word haq on the board. But there was only one rule, that you could not use the same word as someone else. So one person went and wrote truth, and one person went and wrote justice and righteousness and honesty and all of the, boom, 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 all of these things. And by the end, there was the word haq in the middle and all of these words sticking out from this this kind of cloud of words around the word haq. And then she said, do you guys understand? And I didn't get it. And she said, haq isn't only one thing. Haq is an ideal. Haq is something you strive towards. Haq is something you are constantly trying to do. Haq is truth. Haq is justice. Haq is righteousness. Haq is honesty. Haq is all of these things. But haq is an ideal. It's something that you are working towards, something you are striving towards. And so if I answer, is the system here more on the haq, or is the system in America more on the haq? And we were talking earlier off camera about corruption. The system over there is more on haq because it punishes those who bring fahisha to the area. And in the system here, you dismiss people who challenge for their haq. Like, who are you to even question? Who are you to even try to attain haq? Because this isn't even accessible to you here. In America, even though you and I discussed this off camera, that if I were to sit in America and have a conversation, I would say the legal system is under attack and activist judges are making bad rulings and the system is starting to crumble and all this stuff. But then I come here and I'm like, whoa.
That was better.
That was better than here. Because over here, there is no system. The system is might is right. मैं बोला तो होगा. मैं बोला नहीं होगा ना तो नहीं होगा. बस. And there is no challenge. There is no fixing. इसलिए कि किसी और का मसला है ना. Garbage जो रोड पे है वो तो किसी और का मसला है ना. वो तो मेरा मसला तो नहीं है ना. मेरे पास तो माइट है. मेरे पास तो हक है. मैं तो करवाऊंगा. मेरा काम तो हो जाएगा. But that's not what the person is dealing with on the street. When I go outside on the street, people look at me until I start talking. एक दफ़ा मैं बात करने लग जाता हूँ, वो खुद ही समझ जाता है ये बंदा यहाँ से नहीं है, चलो ये शायद कोई होगा, चलो हम इनके प्रोटोकॉल करके इनका काम करवा लेते हैं. But for the average person in Pakistan, that's not what they deal with.
I agree with you, 100% agree. And I would next ask that how that jury is appointed. Like you have 12 members who are from the neighborhood or whatever.
Good question.
So how are they appointed? Are they fixed, and are they paid or unpaid?
So good questions, good question. So how are they picked? There's this thing called jury duty. So lots of people from the neighborhood will receive a notice that you have been chosen to show up for jury duty, and everyone in America hates it.
They are chosen people.
Yeah, but you have no choice. You were just brought in. You have to leave your job. You have to leave your school. You have to leave whatever you're doing, and you have to show up for jury duty. That's how it works. It's civil service over there. And when you are there, depending on the case or the type of case, the attorneys who are in the case get to ask you questions in front of everyone in a public setting. And you have to answer the question. And based on the question, you could get disqualified of serving on a jury or not. And if you are disqualified, then you are dismissed. And if you are not disqualified, then you have to serve for this case. And this case could go 1 week. It could go 1 month. It could go 6 months.
Every time you have to come.
And you have to be there every day.
So what kind of question disqualify?
If you're like a racist, or if you don't speak English, or you have a hard time understanding, or you have a hard time sitting in one place. I mean, there's lots of people, like lots of different things, the questions. But for the most part, people are part of the system. And
so what
attend.
if that jury, which is appointed and selected to serve as a jury, they decide something wrong, and any person is aggrieved with the decision, be it being racist, deliberately, undeliberately,
you can still appeal.
Anyway.
You can still appeal.
So in appellate court, you don't have the jury.
In appellate court, you don't have juries.
So you only have the judge.
You only have in appellate courts. You don't only have one judge. You have a bench of usually 3 judges.
So what's then? Why don't you think that it is just useless to have jury in trial court, because the decision is ultimately going to the appeal, and the
lots of
appellate
times,
court is maybe they're going to just
there's
change.
A very high standard to overturn a ruling by a jury. And you have to show that there was clearly something wrong, and it's most things that are ruled on a jury don't get appealed because the burden is too high.
So now coming to the questions you mentioned that you haven't asked.
Sure.
So I would like to ask your schooling, and from where did you do your law studies?
Sure.
And what practice are you? What is your journey in the legal practice?
Yeah, so I'll say, alhamdulillah, you don't necessarily really know how blessed you are while you are living in your blessing. And then sometimes when somebody asks you a question, you understand, when you look back a little bit, you understand the blessings that you have. So my parents, as I mentioned before, when I was 2 years old, we moved to the United States from Pakistan. When we moved to America, my dad, who has 3 sons, had to work a lot. He worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that he could put food on the table for his 3 sons, and he could tell us to go to school. And alhamdulillah, in the United States, school is free. Public school is free in America, all the way up to high school. And I only went to public school my whole life. Only went to public school for elementary school, for junior high school, for high school, for college, and for law school. only went to public school. College and law school, I had to pay for it. It's not free, but it's still public school. The government is subsidizing the cost somehow, some way, and paying for stuff. So, alhamdulillah, this blessing of having accessible public education allowed me to focus on education and not on working.
So you have done JD.
I have done a Juris Doctor. Yeah, I'm a full law education program in America, full 3 years, full time at the University of Massachusetts Amherst for undergrad, and then for the University of Massachusetts School of Law at Dartmouth for law school. And I got into service after law school. I took the bar exam during Ramadan. So while I was fasting, I took the New York and New Jersey bar exam, and alhamdulillah, I passed both on the first attempt, and became an attorney in New Jersey first at the end of 2013, and then in New York in early of 2014. And alhamdulillah, I've been practicing.
So you have your own practice since the day one, or you have worked somewhere?
I've owned my own firm since you could say basically September 1st of 2014. So almost 6 months after I started, 6 months after I got licensed, I decided to start my own practice. I'm a Maiman, so you know how Maimans are. We're mostly unemployable people. No one would hire a Maiman because we're just terrible. I'm just joking. But alhamdulillah, I started my own practice. Alhamdulillah, it's been an adventure. Very stressful, very, very stressful.
So your law firm's name is Tariq Law PC. Tariq is your father?
Tariq
or
is
you are
it's
using
Subhan
as
Tariq. So in America, everything is based on your last name.
your last name. So
Yeah.
it's your last name.
It's my last name, yeah.
So Tariq is your father as well.
Tariq is my dad's name as well.
Dad's
yeah.
name as well.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the meaning of PC at the end?
Professional corporation.
So it's kind of company or incorporation that is incorporated there.
Yeah, it's a professional corporation. So it's instead of it being like you know how they have private limited or like a corp or like
LLP, LLC.
Yeah, it's like a professional corporation.
So thank you so much for your time, and
Yeah.
it was wonderful discussing U.S. legal system. We have,
I will say this, before I leave, I think there's a huge, and we were talking about this off camera, I think there's a huge demand for American legal education in Pakistan. My firm, like I mentioned before, has employees in Pakistan. We are always looking for more employees in Pakistan. So please, if you are watching this, please,
a lot of people are watching. If you are willing, we can arrange a lot of people for you.
Yeah, I would love to set up a hiring day. Maybe I will just interview everyone that comes one day. If we could set up a place.
Yeah,
like
we can set up a place, and we can post on internet,
Sure,
or perhaps from our platform you can hire people.
I'm very much so looking to hire hardworking, dedicated, loyal people who need a break.
Yeah,
who
you
need
can,
an
I think,
opportunity.
have an interview day, and
Sure.
we can.
If you could help me set that up with.
Sure. I'll coordinate. And
We've
if
been.
people can get
I
benefit
have
out of
been
it, so why not?
I have been after my team members for quite some bit that we need to expand the team. So I would like
we
to.
have
hire
a good networking in Karachi, at least,
Okay.
or we can say in Pakistan.
There you go.
So perhaps you can have some interviews, and if you
Inshallah.
get good people, you can hire them.
Inshallah.
Inshallah will do.
Inshallah,
And that
inshallah.
would be a great initiative as well.
Yeah, inshallah, we would love to. Look, I think, man, I don't know how much I can say because it's on recording, but it's okay. I'll just say it. Khan Sahab sold us this dream of a Naya Pakistan. Okay. And I came, part of the dream was that Imran Khan is like the JFK of Pakistan. For those of you who are not familiar, JFK was a former president of the United States. He asked he told the people and asked a question. He said, ask not what the country
JFK
can
is
do.
John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy. Ask not what the country can do for you. Ask what you could do for the country. And I think Khan Sahab was the JFK of Pakistan in that he challenged the young people. Ask not what the country can do for you because it's not that much. ask what you could do for Pakistan. And I see that the greatest, right now, the greatest accomplishment for a Pakistani is to leave Pakistan. And Khan Saab challenged us, and maybe I'm here because of that challenge, that the greatest thing that a Pakistani can do for Pakistan is to do something for Pakistan. That the greatest thing that any Pakistani should accomplish should be that they do something for their people, that we can lift our people up from craziness.
Below the poverty line to
craziness. It's really, Pakistan is a rich country. We have every sort of resource that you could ever imagine that countries don't have. We have everything. We have oil, we have gas, we have gold, we have copper, we have natural beauty, we have water access, we have ports, we have everything you would want. But we have not been able as a society to just fix basic things. Just fix the trash on the road, and you'll see that people's quality of life improves. In America, we did this. Mayor Giuliani, he was the mayor during 9/11, but even before that, he became popular because he cleaned up New York City. New York City was like Karachi. New York City had a lot of trash like Karachi has now, 25, 30 years ago. And this guy, Mayor Giuliani, he came in and he said, we are going to fix all the broken windows. And people were like, what? How is that going to fix the trash? He said, the broken window is the sign that something else is wrong. That the society has tolerated all the way to the point where the window itself is broken. So investigate, clean it up, and fix it. And so they fixed New York City. They cleaned up all the crime by addressing small things. Fix the small things, and the other big things will take care of themselves. Because the people will see this is not tolerated. अगर लोग बंदा एक खड़ा हुआ हो ना डंडे के साथ और बंदा गार्बेज फेंक रहा है वो डंडे के साथ मारेगा वो खुद ही रुक जाएंगे नहीं
yes but it's crap
but it's what society tolerates is going to be the ultimate thing. If you take in Pakistan, no one waits online. Okay? But if you take that same person and you just pluck them and you take them to Dubai and you drop them in a queue in Dubai, they will automatically listen. They will automatically. Why? Because the society, there's no rule there. There's nobody standing there. But the society does not tolerate it. क्या कर रहे हो तुम पीछे जाओ यही है ना तो सोसाइटी खुद ही लोग आपस में बोलेंगे नहीं जाओ पीछे कोई आके इनको नहीं बोला. There was no rule, there was no saying. Like you were saying before, Pakistan has all the rules, all the laws,
but implementation is an issue.
Implementation is a problem.
So,
but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was
I appreciate the time.
Discussion.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed. And viewers, be a request if you have enjoyed this podcast session.
We can come for round 2. I'm here in Pakistan for the next few months.
Yes, sure. And subscribe to the channel.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Share it to your friends. Share it with your friends and family so they can get benefit out of it. Thank you so much. We'll meet soon. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.